So, how was school, son?
It was fine. It was fine.
Well, I'm no doctor, but it seems to me that you're a little upset.
No, it was seriously nothing.
Come on, what was it? Did that Jessica not like that little love letter?
Jessica, she didn't like the love letter, but other than that, school was fine.
Well, come on then. It has to be something.
Jimmy and Paul, well, they're going to this airplane convention tomorrow for the weekend, and well, they didn't invite me.
Why is that, son? Why didn't they invite you?
Well, no, they talked to me. They brought it up, and they said, hey, dude, do you know the basic beginner steps of the aerodynamics of an airplane? And I was like, yo, man, no. And I'm embarrassed about it because it seemed like something pretty cool to know.
Well, son, I understand that you might be embarrassed, but don't you worry, because guess what I have for you right here.
Ugh, Dad, is that a Chromebook? Ugh.
It sure is a Chromebook, and this Chromebook is going to show you how to learn the basic beginner steps to airplane aerodynamics, taught by one of the coolest tutors on the Sprouting in the STEM YouTube channel.
Well, Dad, I know all about the Sprouting in the STEM YouTube channel, but one of the coolest tutors? Come on, Dad. They're all cool. Who can be one of the coolest tutors when they're all cool?
Oh, son, who would that be? Well, it'd be me, your tutor for today's lesson, Luke.
Wait, you're Luke, the Sprouting in the STEM tutor on the YouTube channel that leads a nonprofit organization to teach kids around the world STEM principles? I would have never guessed. Because you know what, Dad? I'm also Luke. And today we're going to be learning all about airplane aerodynamics. Hello, Sprouting in the STEM students. I'm your tutor, Luke. And today we're going to be talking about airplane aerodynamics. There's actually one flying ahead above me right now. Now, if you saw my video weeks ago about rocket aerodynamics, I really covered only the surface level content that goes into rocket aerodynamics and aerodynamics itself. That's what we're going to be doing here today. We're going to be going over the very basic stuff and doing a small activity to help you guys explain it and apply your understanding. To explain this lesson to you and just start out with the basic surface level content of airplane aerodynamics, I want to go over 3 main key points is what I'm going to go over. So the first key point will be the 4 forces that act on an airplane, similar to how a few weeks ago I went over the rocket 4 forces that act upon a rocket within rocket aerodynamics. The next key point I want to go over is understanding the angle of attack and what that does to airplanes and why that helps, why that doesn't help, what that really means in regards to airplanes. And then the last thing I want to go over is airplanes and why they're shaped the way they are. What makes an airplane aerodynamic? Here's a little tip before you guys get started. When you're using a yard, make sure there isn't dog poop before you put your knees down. We're gonna go clean up and then we're gonna continue this lesson. Main force, or not the main force, but the easiest force, I guess, it would be the force of gravity. So the weight. This is the force that's gonna push airplanes downwards. It's gonna pull them down. Similar to how if I had not a ball, but anything, and I just dropped it, that's the force of gravity pulling it down. Second force. Now, in rockets, it was actually the thrust that was putting the rocket upwards, but in airplanes, it's actually the lift. Lift is what's going to be bringing the rocket upwards, and lift will be the force that is perpendicular to the wings. So perpendicular means making a 90-degree angle. So if we go here and then we make a 90-degree angle, it's gonna go that way. We'll be pushing the airplane up. The next force can be thrust. So thrust is what's going to push the airplane forward, make it go that way. Now, in my examples with the paper airplanes, I'm going to be applying the thrust, because it's not like these things got engines or anything, you know? We're not that cool yet. Soon. But the thrust is going to propel it forward. Now, on real airplanes, they'll have propeller engines or jet engines. So what real airplanes use when they're applying thrust is actually propellers and jet engines. And what those are doing is they're actually taking the air that they're coming into contact with, the air molecules, and they're accelerating them out the other direction. Because of Newton's third law, every action has an equal opposite reaction. So they're accelerating, they're shooting all the air particles out. Let's say there was an engine here. They're taking the air particles and they're shooting them out really fast back that way. And since every action has an equal opposite reaction, that's actually creating a reactive force accelerating the plane forward, making thrust. So that's how those engines work. And the last force is going to be drag. So drag is air resistance. So I wish I could have a better example for this, but I don't really have a car to use, but we can use water. You'll see why I need a car in a second. But so if you take your hand and you put it in a pool of water and you hold it sideways and like slice through it, you can cut through the water pretty easily. But if you take your hand flat and you hit the water and you try to go down there, it's going to be a lot harder. It's actually because the water molecules, there's a lot more surface area for them to hit, so you're actually getting more contact, so that's more resistance on your hand. And if you had a car, it's similar to how when you stick your hand out the window when you're going down the highway, and if you hold your hand like this, it's not that bad. You can stick it out and it'll just go ooh, and it'll cut through the air. It'll be easy because you're not really coming into contact with much air molecules right here. But as soon as you do that, then your hand's flying back. It's getting hit by all these air molecules while you're going 80 miles per hour. And that's drag right there. That's air resistance. So that's what planes experience. That's the backwards force. That's the force that goes against thrust, which goes down. And now Computer Luke is going to talk to you about angle of attack and pitch. Hello students, Computer Luke here. And I'm just going to quickly go over angle of attack and pitch. So when an airplane wants to create more lift or go higher in the air, it has to increase its angle of attack. So as the airplane, the angle of attack is almost the level that the wings are directing upwards from, like, let's say there's a horizontal straight line. The angle of attack will be what you're pitching your wings up to be, right? So as you increase the angle of attack, the airplane's going to generate more lift. But with that lift also comes more drag. So as the airplane increasingly goes up, it's going to go higher and higher. But if you increase that angle of attack too much, your drag is actually going to start becoming exponentially high because all the air molecules are crashing into the airplane with all this surface area right here. It's not a very good design or good idea to have an airplane. If an airplane's flying like this, you don't want the airplane flying like this. That just won't work. It'll fall straight down. So that's just the understanding of angle of attack, and with that, there's almost a sweet spot that you want. If you want to get more lift, you can increase the angle of attack more than you normally would if you just want to have more speed, where with more speed, you'll have a lower angle of attack, but you'll be minimizing your drag. And now I present to you the lesson. I'm going to be making 5 different airplanes, each with different designs that I found off YouTube that I'll link in the description, and we're going to see which one flies the best. Hope you enjoy. There are some golfers outside, so hopefully they don't yell. Boom! Not bad. Not bad, not bad. My own design, Randy. Not bad. Wow. Winner we have Eat My Air Molecules. Though the results may not be completely accurate, and the winner may have been determined on just whichever plane had the best throw, still I believe that Eat My Air Molecules is worthy of holding the crown for this tournament. It was a very good design. It was able to cut through the air, minimize drag, had lots of very aerodynamic structure. You know, compared to, like, let's say my design Randy, it was a little bulkier. You know, it just wasn't going to get the job done as good as Eat My Air Molecules. So I hope you all enjoyed the lesson, and I hope you all learned something, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.